when we started doing the irrigation system, the thing that I did to make it easier for me was start on the furthest out garden bed, because this main line right down here is hooked up all the way back to the faucet. So what we had to do is we started here and we popped this sucker out of the ground, and then I had, before any of this was up, any of the stones or the mulch or anything, it was all bare ground, I ran this irrigation in the ground, under the ground here, and you can see where we've got another main line that came up from the ground, and those two are connected back this way, and we've got a line under the ground coming underneath this garden bed and then popped up out of the ground right here, so we can utilize our drip system for this garden bed as well. So as we came back towards the house, we came right through here under the ground, buried it about 4 inches in the ground, not very deep, just enough to get it under the soil line, and it helps in the wintertime from getting too cold. It probably still freezes, but I haven't had any issues with it yet. So I brought it back through here, buried it under the ground, and then I basically just dug a trench and walked all the way through this area. So we came all the way around the house, went under our deck here, and you can see over here at the faucet where we came up out of the ground to the timer and the spigot. To begin talking about what we bought here, there's a few different mechanisms that you're going to want to go with, and we just go with a Y on the end of our spigot because we don't have a lot of extra watering to do. One hose in the garden timer is enough. This timer we purchased off of Amazon. I think it was about $40 or $50, and it's got all kinds of different settings on it, and it has an automatic setting that we love to use, that my wife sets it for so many minutes, so many times a day, and you turn the spigot on just barely on, and once the water's on, this thing shuts off and turns on when it needs to. Saves yourself a lot of headache and time. You are going to want to make sure you get a pressure reduction valve right here. This one is 25 psi, so whatever psi is coming out of the house going into this and then going into this, it's only letting 25 psi go into your drip system because they don't need a lot of pressure to operate. And then you're going to have a backflow preventer on here, which is this piece here, and then there's a little connector that goes onto the pressure reduction valve that goes into your drip system line. So there's going to be your timer, you're going to have your pressure release valve, you're going to have your pressure reduction valve, then you're going to have another little connector here to just hook up to the actual irrigation. So those are going to be the parts that you're going to want to have to get this part set up as you're adding your drip system on. Now that we've got our timer, we've got our valves hooked up, we've got our main lines ran to each one of our beds, everything's set and ready for you to add your plants. And then you're going to be able to come over here, just like in this garden bed with our broccoli. We've got our garlic over here. We've got green beans growing over here on the lattice. And what it allows you to do is to start to hook up your different garden beds in the manner that you really need it done. So as you can see over here with our garlic, we have several heads of garlic growing, and we utilize just some sprinklers on the garlic because there's so many heads in here that we're not trying to put 30 different drips out here. So you could use sprinklers, you could use bubblers, whatever you find out works for you. This has done good for us. You can see our garlic's pretty healthy so far. Then we can pan over here to our broccoli, and we can see that with broccoli what we want to do is we want to use drip systems. So we've got the line ran down, and we just pop in different sections where we can put drips right to the base of all of these broccoli plants right here. And then if we come over here, you can see we've got lines running down for these broccoli. Then we've got our green beans over here going up the lattice. And really we just have a couple little sprinklers popped off of here, watering at the base of the green bean plants. If you turn around over here, we've got our zucchini and our squash, and you'll see again, these plants are in a single garden bed. We are able to run one line down from the main, and then we just pop off a few little drips here like we have here. There's about 3 or 4 that we've hooked up because these are heavy drinkers when they start to grow. They love water. So we've got 3 different drips going to each one of these plants. And this allows them to get the water they need. So you can see all these different garden beds are different. Another thing is we've got our potato plants in here. And for our potato plants, what we've been able to do is we just bum off of this line here and then run a little bit longer drip line. Here, you can see there's 3 drip lines. And we just threw these little bubblers and started watering in this area as well. So you can see how it's very versatile when you have this added to your garden. You can start to just run off the main lines. If you switch your plants the next year, all of a sudden, all you gotta do is come over here and you can take a clipper and you can cut that off and you can pull that off and you can just pop a new drip main line in there, run it down, and add whatever configuration you want for that new plant. You may be asking yourself, what is this gonna cost me to install this drip system? And it's gonna be about $100 to $200. If you get the starter kit, you can go online, and Rainbird has a good starter kit that I purchased that had some main line, some drip heads, some sprinklers, some little poly line to hook up the drips, the little tools to press the barbs into the hose. So you're gonna be in that $100 to $200 price range just to get this started. But once you install this, you're guaranteed that your plants are getting the water that they need, and you won't have to worry about coming out with sprinklers every day, coming out with the hose, checking the plants. It'll already be going for you once you learn how to set your timer and get that going. So the value up front is very reasonable comparative to the long-term issues that you're going to have without having the drip line in. I would highly encourage anybody who's going to do a backyard garden to look into a drip system, figure out what kind of timer works for you, what kind of system setup works for you, and play around with it. There's so many different types of sprinkler heads and drip heads that could almost be a whole nother video, but you're gonna find that you enjoy what you're doing with it, you're happy with it, and once the infrastructure is in, like in our garden, it's ready to go. Every time my wife wants to reconfigure the garden, we just reconfigure the drips. It doesn't take us more than a few hours each season, and we're ready to go, knowing confidently that our plants are gonna get the water they need and they're gonna provide the growth and harvest that is healthy for our family. I hope this gives you guys a little bit of insight on how to enhance your backyard garden, especially as a new beginner. And I hope that you guys continue down your journey of what works best for you. If you like our video, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, take care.